station.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲನೆ
Hyderabad Punjab Express. Dayabati station. Netaji forward. Cricbuzz.
What we have witnessed right now is just complete carnage because Hyderabad have chased down 245 with 9 balls to spare. Abhishek Sharma has gotten 141 in 55 balls. Travis Head getting 66 in 37. Hyderabad are back with a statement win, which was loud, lethal, and absolutely legendary. You're watching Voltas presents Cricbuzz Live. I'm Saiyami Kher. I've got Joyda and Rohan in the house. Rohan's lost his voice. Once you see something like this, Rohan, you're lost for words, lost for voice.
Lost for voice because, when you see batting of this quality, you're so excited, you're cheering all the time. We are fans.
Yes.
We are fans of the game. We love to see, fabulous cricket. And this was batting of the highest order, striking of the highest order.
We asked for fireworks. We said that they'd come out with that full jari and they have proven us wrong. And how, Joyda? This is the Hyderabad that came out in that first game and they're finally back again.
Absolutely. And so 35 boundaries were hit in the first innings. And you said that's a lot. With 9 balls to spare, that means in 111 balls, they've hit 111 legal deliveries. They've hit 40 boundaries.
Oh.
40 out of 111. That means less than 1 in every third ball has disappeared for a boundary. And it tells you about the kind of effort that's gone in today. I mean, these are numbers. The pitch has a part to play in it. But, for all people talk about the pitch, you need to be able to execute your batting at that high level to hit that many.
Well,
Under pressure, that too. The pressure of chasing 240, to be able to execute it under that pressure, hats off.
Well, this is the second highest successful chase in the IPL, and you're talking about, when you're growing up, 245, even in ODI cricket used to feel like, are we going to chase this or not? But now in 20 overs cricket, they've done it so easily. That's where cricket has come to. That's where power hitting has come to. Just incredible.
Like I said, mind-boggling.
Yes.
But we were talking about something in the green room before that is, at times you look back at certain innings played in the IPL itself, look back at Suresh Raina's 87 of 25 deliveries back then.
2014,
Yes.
11 years back.
11 years back, it's this kind of hitting. And that's mind-boggling. Chris Gayle, 129 deliveries.
Yes.
The fastest, 100 in the IPL. Again, mind-boggling. So, look, what used to be a one-off at that point, I'm not saying it's a regular occurrence, but it's far more common now than what it used to be 10 years ago. And that's basically T20 cricket and how the game has evolved. I keep saying this, I keep harping on about this. This is the fastest evolving and fastest, the format which changes the fastest in terms of economy rate for bowlers. 8 back then was great. Now 9.5 is great. Strike rates for batters, 125, 130 was amazing. Now you're looking at 160, 170. So look, and this is in the span of, 18 years.
Yes.
So fastest evolving.
Well, you spoke about Chris Gayle's 175, but we have to get to talking about what Abhishek Sharma has done today. He soaked in the pressure. He was so cool, which is why he is our coolest performer of the match, powered by Voltas. Shore come, calm zyada. When we talk about calm zyada, Joyda, 141 in 55 balls, striking at 256, 10 sixes, 14 fours.
24 boundaries. It tells you a story. 24 boundaries, one of them more than 107.
106, the sixer.
Yeah, huge. And there were points where he left all 3 stumps, went down in the off and flicked it over the leg side. He was in complete control. And obviously this meant a lot to him. It's not just when he got his century, he goes and he takes out that piece of paper saying this one is for the Orange Army. So we were wondering at what point in the innings had he written that down, or had he written it right at the start? And we'll probably find out tomorrow.
Yes.
That, what the story behind it is. But
Because if you had written at the start, the confidence of the
confidence, exactly. So it tells you a story, but just the way he played. And remember, it's very difficult to overshadow Travis Head. But today, Travis Head looked like the junior partner. Yes. He was absolutely fantastic.
I'm sure Head liked
Well,
the
I'll tell
seat
you
that
what,
he got sitting and watching him do what he was doing.
Look, it's very tough to overshadow Travis Head. But today, Abhishek Sharma was head and shoulders above him.
Well done.
Good one there, good one, head and shoulders. But just talking about the shots he played, Joyda, we spoke about how he was going to the confidence he has, walking across the off stump and kind of getting those shots there at behind, near the leg side. The helicopter shot that he hit, that six that he hit, massive.
That was the biggest six.
Yeah, big, huge, that helicopter, and he's hit it twice. I mean, the first one was a complete helicopter, the second was just a little bit of the helicopter. But his ability and his hitting was all round, the entire arc. It's not that he was just hitting straight or he was just hitting, like Nicholas Puran this is the place that he hits maybe, the cow corner maybe. But the range of the kind of shots Abhishek Sharma hit was much larger. And I think it was a very complete innings, it was a dominant innings.
Yes.
And, I mean, a combination of power and timing that's rare, very rare.
Better thought for Yash though.
Yeah, very
That no ball.
Yeah.
It's unlucky. You spoke about luck in cricket. Sometimes it's just...
And it's not even about good luck.
Yes.
But look, to me, honestly, no balls are criminal. Especially now, when you know the repercussion and the consequences are so bad. You don't need to flirt with that line. You can bowl from 6 inches behind. Player of that pace, a bowler of that pace, if you bowl from 6 inches behind, is going to make no difference.
Yes.
You're not express. You're not someone who's going to rattle the batsman with pace. So where you're trying to get that extra advantage of six inches or so to get, maybe just rattle the batter with pace, that's not happening. So just don't take the risk. I think in every coaching academy now, all bowlers need to be told, mark your run up, but you're bowling from 6 inches behind.
Yes.
That needs to be taught at the grassroots level now. And what happens when you teach it at the grassroots level is then where you release the ball from to get your length right. If you want, because if you go 6 inches, you release it from a slightly different angle. You learn that.
Yes.
Muscle memory kicks in because that's where you've learned right from childhood. So I think every academy now needs to teach bowlers to bowl from spinners and fast bowlers to bowl from 6 inches behind.
I just want to go back to Abhishek, and Yuvraj Singh is going to be a very happy mentor because of just the way he's played. We have seen you, we mentor him for so many years. The master, Sachin Tendulkar, spoke about how effortless his bat swing was, I think, earlier this year. So, big legends talking about him, mentoring from big players, they're all going to be very proud.
Absolutely. And you see, the big thing is that in those days when you're an under-19 player and all the other guys seem to be zooming off into IPL stardom and you're there. And if you remember, he was in Delhi, then he got traded to Sunrisers, just wasn't getting a place, finally got opportunity. So it's only in the last 2 years that he's discovered himself as a batter, the last 2 to 3 years. And he's taken that opportunity. And now with Travis Head with him, it's a very different thing because sometimes you just need that senior player who's guiding you. And this combination, I think, is fantastic. It's good for Travis, but it's fantastic for Abhishek. And how he's... See, the other thing is that a lot of players, when they take a chance, and there's a no ball and you're dropped, or Stoinis doesn't take a catch, or, Chahal spills you, you get nervous that, okay, am I doing this right? He was totally nerveless. He did not allow any of this to distract him. He just went on and on and on. And I think the last shot that he got out from was just pure tiredness. He just didn't have the strength to take it anymore because he got right into position. He just didn't have the strength to take it out of the mountain.
Well, my forearms are just hurting watching what he's done today, but he soaked in all the pressure, was extremely cool, which is why Abhishek Sharma was the coolest performer of the match, powered by Voltas, Shore Kam Kaam Zyada. Joyda, Rohan, were talking about that partnership and how Head had the best seat in the house. But when Head gets going, he's aggressive. That 171, he's got 66 of those runs. So
yeah, and to think about it, that's probably a strike rate of over 175.
Yeah.
I mean, mental math isn't that good, but I'm guessing approximately over 175. And then you're thinking, okay, oh, they're 178. Oh, not bad.
Very good.
Well done, Bombay Scottish.
Well done.
Luck to my old school.
Well done.
I hope your maths teacher is watching.
Yeah. So, well, look, but the fact that at 178, and not just 178 in a strike rate where you scored 15-20, you scored 66.
Yes.
Over there, you're overshadowed. And overshadowed rightly so, because what we saw today was again, I think, everyone at the stadium will remember this innings for the rest of their lives, and they'll be saying, we were there.
Yes.
We were at the stadium. It's like, people talk about the final, World Cup final, Wankhede, and people say, we were there. I was there, we were there. You're going to talk about this innings in that same manner.
Joyda, I think we're going to talk about that innings, and we're also going to talk about that note that Abhishek pulled out of his pocket, because this is all for all the Hyderabad fans. When your team is down and out, you're obviously frustrated. You want your team to do well, but it's just about supporting them when they're down as well. And he's just, well, dedicated this knock to the fans.
I think where do you see that? You see that by the fact that they were 1-4 and they walk into a stadium and it's full of people.
Yeah.
I think that's the statement. They've already made that statement by being there with their flags and saying, it doesn't matter whether we are 1-4, we are here, we are there in full strength. And staying after you see your team pummeled for 245 in the first inning. You're still sitting out there in your seats. It's not easy to watch. Your team is getting smashed around. I mean, Shreyas Iyer has taken them to the cleaners. And they were still around and still cheering. And therefore, I think all this builds up in your head that you're going out there, you're not doing very well, you feel they've let them down, you're still watching them, they're all standing there. And then they're coming and cheering you even though, you're chasing 245. I think, so there's a lot of emotion there, and I think I really like it when people, when cricketers acknowledge that the fans are the lifeblood of the sport.
Absolutely.
Most of the real heroes in any cricket game are sitting in the stands.
Absolutely.
And that's something to remember. And I think I'm glad he did.
Joy, I've got a question for you. Obviously, you were involved with KKR and the IPL for such a long time. Aren't most fans of teams now like that? Do you remember any game with KKR, not necessarily KKR fans, but maybe opposition fans where they were maybe a little disgruntled and didn't show up? Or
You do get. And see, I think there are two types of fans. Okay, let's put it this way. The original fan, see the guy is in Bangalore who was, say, cheering when KKR won when the first ever match in 2008. There was no concept of RCB KKR. Lots of people, lots of color, people hitting sixes, huge atmosphere. For 2-3 years, that was the way. After that, fandom started getting defined. You start supporting your team. You still have about 15-20% of fans who are just going to go there and scream at every six and every wicket. Okay, but I think your fans can be harder on your team and less hard on your team. I feel the teams, the two fan bases that support most uncomplainingly, okay, are actually Hyderabad and Bangalore. Okay, Kolkata fan or a Mumbai fan, they'll support, and to a certain extent Chennai, because of course Chennai is also there. The rest are more critical of their team, so they'll call you out. That doesn't mean they're not passionate. But in Kolkata, you can go and win a game and you can get cheered at 2 o'clock at night. You can lose a bad game and get stoned. The bus can get stoned as well. So you have a temperamental fans. And
Kolkata has had temperamental fans for years.
Because from their football,
Oranges have also been thrown.
Oranges have been thrown. Many things have been thrown. As members of your family will know.
Yeah, as members of my family, oranges have been thrown. So,
well, it's just good to see the orange army out there, and it's good that they had orange on their t-shirts. No oranges, nothing thrown, but this was for the fans, and Abhishek did dedicate this to the fans. You think the Punjab bowlers also just, take their hat off and say, man, you just out-batted us today? Or is there something else they could have done?
Well, look, I think, everything's in favor of the batters. That goes without saying. And this is what I mean when I say in a sense, it's a bowler's game, because 240 has been chased.
Yes.
And not many bowlers will get criticism. You look at the last over that Mohammad Shami bowled, where he went for 27 runs. There were, I think, 3 full tosses and 1 length ball which went for 6. Now, a bowler of his capability, ability, experience shouldn't be bowling 3 full tosses.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Marcus Stoinis hitting that rather than Mohammad Shami, not bowling the right deliveries. It's similar with this. I mean, to not defend 240 plus can happen because Abhishek Sharma, Travis Head were magnificent. But to not defend with 9 overs, 9 balls to spare means, yes, the opposition has batted magnificently, but also the bowling hasn't been up to the levels that Ricky Ponting and Shreyas Iyer would have hoped. Let's not forget that they were 1 bowler short.
Yeah, Lockie going is a huge...
It's a huge difference. Let's not forget.
Yes.
But having said that, taking that into account, also the fact that with 9 deliveries, yes, the batters have done well, but the bowlers also haven't really bowled as well as they can or they could, because sometimes when a batter gets into the flow of hitting boundaries and sixes on a pitch like this, the bowler also may think like, this is what's going to happen.
And then there was no support from the field as well. Joyda, we saw those dropped catches, which Yuzi's catch or Stoinis' catch, and then there was, of course, that misfortune of the no ball. But you have to take these catches, right?
You have to. And look, that's the point. Fielding does make a difference because luck and good fielding these are the two X factors in these tournaments. One decision going that way, one going the other way. And small things. I mean, today also in the field, you saw Prabsimran and Maxwell go up. And I thought they thought it was a, edge of the bat.
Yeah.
And Shreyas Iyer is saying,
ask me.
Yeah, there are only two. I can make this call only twice incorrectly. So I don't want to take a chance like that. So I think they had a great batting performance, but there's a lot they need to discuss, and they probably need to solve the Lockie problem. They need to solve one other problem. They need to solve Glenn Maxwell. I mean, forget about anything else. He was out of sorts. The way his body language was on the field, and Glenn Maxwell is a mercurial player. He'll swing both ways. When he's confident, he's a big show, he's everything. But they need that version of Glenn Maxwell there, or they need to sit him out for a while, let him cool off, and then come back perhaps.
I've always thought about this, is in the IPL tournament, you don't get time to practice when you're out of form. This happened with Ben Stokes when he was with Rajasthan Royals. Just wasn't in form. But because you pay a pretty hefty sum, no one takes the call of saying, okay, listen, you are a really important player for us.
Yes.
But for the next 2 games, you're out. This is a 14-game tournament. Just hit balls.
Yourself together.
Just get into the nets, hit balls, get back, get that rhythm back, get that back, and then we get you back in. Take 2 weeks off just to practice. It's communication where you're saying you're not being dropped.
Yes.
You're being, in a sense, rested so that you can practice enough to get back into rhythm and get back into form. But not many teams do that. I've rarely seen a team drop a big player who's not in form for a couple of games. I'm not saying take him out of the entire tournament, just drop it for a couple of games so that he has that time to work on whatever defects he may have and come back stronger.
Well, we'll wait and watch and see if any kind of drastic moves like this are taken for Glenn Maxwell, because he is the big show. We're used to seeing what he can do. But today there was just one big show, and that was Abhishek Sharma, which let's have a look at what he's done to the points table with that big 141. Hyderabad pick up those 2 points, and they are at number 8 now. Punjab at 6, so they'll just be happy to move up the charts, Joyda, but a long way for Hyderabad. This was a very crucial game for them.
This is a crucial game because, see, what happens is you can afford to lose. 8 and 6 might still get you in. Okay, so the moment you go to 5 means you have to win every game then after that. So here they bought themselves a tiny bit of cushion. But what happens in teams in situations like this is, right now, any team in that who's already lost 4 is always saying, 1 match at a time. 1 match. Next match. Don't dare to look ahead of that. Just stay 1 match at a time.
And they're looking at the matches of the other teams, especially Chennai and Mumbai or below them, hoping that they win against the teams that are in front of them.
They need the guys at the top to
drop points against the lower team, because see, when you play against each other, one team will drop points. But what you want is for them to drop points against teams that are lower than you.
So after that 6 games, things start getting interesting, and tomorrow is going to be a very interesting day because we've got power-packed games happening. First up, the afternoon game, RCB take on Rajasthan. This is in Jaipur. Joyda, Rohan, relief for RCB. They're going away from home.
Relief from everybody. Firstly, that relief for Arad that their home is actually a home and they're not
back
sitting in Guwahati.
Home, yes.
They're back to their real home. And RCB just like being guests, they like to stay in the hotels. They don't like to stay in their own homes.
Well, they win when they've won all their games when they've been away. So they will want to get this win in, especially after what's happened with them when they're at home. So they'll just be happy to go to Jaipur.
Yeah, because sometimes, you've got to look at what your form is, what your strengths are. And obviously their strength at the moment is playing away. So you can't afford to slip up when you're playing away. In a sense, that's become your advantage when you play away from home. And surprisingly so because the fan support that the RCB gets at the Chinnaswamy is second to none.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
So when you've got that kind of fan support, for the team to not do well is very surprising. But they tend to do well away, so this is where they want to make it count.
Talking about making it count, we spoke about Maxwell, but there's another name who really needs to make it count, and that's Livingston, because he's also going the Maxwell way, right?
Livingston is the new Maxwell, as they say, you know. Always rated, always up there, but if you see the actual numbers and averages, they just don't add up, you know. And Maxwell's a great example. He had a great 2014 thing. Livingston's the same. And both these guys, Maxwell is still inconsistent and, you know, will give you spikes all the time. Livingston, though, has been pretty good in leagues around the world. He just hasn't managed to crack IPL.
Do you see him coming tomorrow? Any changes in that RCB squad?
I like Jacob Bethel. If Bethel is fit, and Bethel is basically somebody England also rates a lot. He gives you an option. Okay, he doesn't give you both, leg spin and off spin, but he gives you left arm spin. And he's a pretty competent bat. England is pretty high on him. So Bethel, Romario Shepherd, both actually are decent options for Liam Livingston as far as I'm concerned.
Rohan, they lost that game to DC, RCB's last game. We saw what KL Rahul did, but Phil Salt was firing well, but unfortunately, you know, that middle order didn't really quite get going. So what can they go back, learn from that game?
Well, I think, again, respect the conditions. We keep harping about that, respect the conditions. I think one of the reasons, again, we spoke about in the pre-show, I think, KL Rahul and who did he have the partnership with? Stubbs.
Yes,
Tristan Stubbs. So KL Rahul and Stubbs kept saying that KL told him keep playing straight, which is respecting the conditions. If you see a lot of the dismissals in that game were when batters tried to play across the line. And you got top edges and for whatever reason, you know, ball wasn't coming on. A lot of, you know, going up, being caught. So respect the conditions. Not every game is going to be a 240 and it's going to be chased down. Sometimes you might get a 160 game. You might, you know, like in that game, in the RCB DC game, if they had got to 185, 190, it would have been a lot closer. You know, I'm not saying...
And Rahul played a
blinder.
Amazing innings. Also, he knew the conditions upside down. He's a Bangalore kid.
Yes.
So he knew the conditions better than any Bangalore player.
And he made sure everyone knew that.
Loud and
look, I get it.
This is my ground.
I honestly understand it because, you know, you have grown up on that ground. That is your school.
Yes.
Your education has happened on that ground. You know, and you play your first class cricket there. You see, as a batter also, and a lot of these guys play across all venues quite a bit. But as a batter, it's also important to know the angles of a ground.
Yes.
You know what angles to use, where, you know, certain angles you don't even need to hit hard. Because say in Calcutta, if you're going to fine leg or third, because of the practice pitches, you just got to time it there. It's not
It races away.
It races.
Away,
So it's not. So all you're doing is focusing on just tapping it well and finding the gap. In certain areas, you've got to hit it with a little bit more power. So it's knowing the angles of a ground, and that KL. I mean, obviously, like I said, that's where his education has been, and he was. I thought it was great. It was, you know, great for him to remind everyone that this is my turf.
Well, Rajasthan sure will know the angles of this ground because this is, like you said, their home ground. They're back here. They, of course, lost their last game to GT, so they are 2 out of 5 for Rajasthan. Again, this is an important game for them.
Yeah, and they're struggling. I mean, they're like, you know, it's an interesting one because what's happening is Jaiswal is getting a start, Samson is getting a start. They're not converting starts. And that will really, really worry them. You know, Parag took them home one day, but basically those two are again, they paid a lot of money to basically retain Indian batting talent. Okay. And I think that's the thing that they're looking at and saying that these guys need to fire from us. And if somebody like a Samson or a Jaiswal gets to 30, 40, he better make it. One of them need to make it a 70, 80, 90. Yes. They can't afford to do it. Because right now, those 200, 220 scores happen only when one guy really goes big. You know, you're rarely going to see a 220 score with nothing over 50, you know, 40s and 50s. It doesn't happen. It rarely happens.
I think what's happened is Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma have sort of spoiled the template for everyone else where they feel you've got to keep going hard throughout. And that's why you know, with Jaiswal and with Yashasvi and Sanju, you see them like, you know, going, you know, boom, boom, boom. They've been successful in the past, but again, there's certain times when you just, maybe just for a wee bit, go down from sixth gear to fourth gear. I'm not saying go down to like, you know, ones and twos, but be judicious in your shot making.
But I think Hasaranga is fit for tomorrow, so do we see him come back? Any changes in that squad for you, Rohita?
Yeah, for me, definitely Hasaranga. It's an interesting one. Look, I think Jofra Archer is bowling really, really well for them. Tushar Deshpande really not doing it as far as I'm concerned. But see, their whole concept was to have international bowling backed up by basically Indian batting. And so Hasranga for me comes back. Hasranga, Thikshana, Archer, fourth bowler, and I'm really saying you could really throw the ball to Akash Madwal as well.
Yes.
I mean, you don't necessarily, lots of teams have now shown us that you have the ability to be able to play Indian you don't need to play 4 international players just because they're there. The other thing that intrigues me, I don't know whether it's going to happen. I just saw a video of 13-year-old Vaibhav Suryavanshi playing Jofra Archer in the nets, and it's quite something. So I don't know whether he'll get a chance, but it'll be really exciting to see him if he comes on.
You know, Joy, you spoke about 13-year-old Vaibhav Suryavanshi, and I was thinking about this afternoon. We sometimes forget that Sachin Tendulkar at 14 was smashing bowlers around the country, made his international debut when he was 16, 15. We've, in a sense, forgotten that.
I haven't, don't worry.
No, I know you haven't. Neither have I. But I'm saying a lot of people remember him as that, run machine.
Yes.
That just run machine. But we've forgotten, what he was when he was...
domestic, 100 in Irani as a 15-year-old kid.
On debut.
Oof. Both, I mean, unbelievable.
Well, you all know what happens if you'll get into master discussions. We'll be here till tomorrow afternoon. No. So I don't think I want to keep you all waiting till tomorrow afternoon. But your players to watch out for tomorrow, one from each team.
I'm going to go... I love Yashasvi, so I'm going to go with Yashasvi. From Rajasthan.
Sanju for me. Sanju Samson for me. I think it's important. He's a captain as well. Home ground, first match on their real home ground. He needs to make it count.
And for RCB, I'm going to go with Virat. He's looked in fabulous touch.
Yes.
For me, as I keep saying, for me this season Rajat Patidar is the key to them because he's that one guy who unlocks a spin bowling. And on a ground as big as Rajasthan, spinners are a huge factor. In home Rajasthan conditions, it's one of the largest grounds in the country.
All right, we'll wait and watch and see what happens with that first game. And then next up, again, a very exciting game. MI is taking on Delhi, and we know that Delhi is coming with that confidence. KL Rahul, we chatted about his Kantara celebration, talking about his ground, but just getting those 93 runs, the confidence he's coming with, and maybe that one thing they need to figure out is the opener Jake Fraser-McGurk.
Yeah, I mean, Delhi versus Mumbai is outside of cricket a very big conversation. Not so much in cricket. Mumbai has been far more the dominant force. But yeah, look, Delhi, that's the point. That if, the team Delhi is now, just like Maxwell right now, I think they think they can carry. They also feel Jake Fraser-McGurk is too good a player for them to drop. They'll be thinking, he gets going one day. And the Wankhede is that trying a pitch he'll like. Because it's fast, it's even. This is in Firozshah Kotla.
They're playing, yes.
It's playing in Firozshah Kotla. I think it's a small ground. So I think they'll stay with Jake Fraser-McGurk because they've put a lot of faith in him. And I don't see immediate changes right now.
4-4, they've won, so they're on a winning streak.
Yeah.
So, they have that comfort of supporting him.
The other thing I want to see is Abhishek Porel go on to get a bit more. Because people like Samir Rizvi are there. Karun Nair is really smashing it in the nets. And while Abhishek Porel is somebody they're very high on, I'd love to see, Karun Nair get an opportunity. For me, it's almost like a fairy tale, the way he's played this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I agree. I think Karun Nair has been excellent this year. But, if you're being critical about Abhishek Porel, as you mentioned, Jake Fraser-McGurk, they're both in the same situation. So then it will come down to, like Joy said, you can maybe just play 3 overseas players and Karun Nair comes in place of Jake Fraser-McGurk. Because, again, the shot that he played in the last game, just like a wild heave, you could hear the commentator, someone like Shane Watson who was commentating, saying, look, everyone's been trying to tell him, just give yourself a little bit of ball. And I think they compared stats to Rajat Patidar, who strike rate in the first 10 was about 130, 140, and then from 10 onwards about 240. Now, obviously, Jake Fraser-McGurk has that kind of ability, but he needs to also realize that Indian conditions are different to Australian conditions. Respect the conditions. Give yourself a little bit of time. Get set. And when I say a little bit of time, I'm not saying like 3-4 overs. I'm just saying a little bit, try and gauge the pitch and then let your talent take over.
Let your talent take over is what Rohan said. What does one do with MI start? Because they really, really need to let their talent take over, but they need to settle in. The top three are just not giving them anything at all, Joyda.
Absolutely. And so that's my point. It's not a problem. The only solution to that problem is they themselves. All of them know it. All of them know what the situation is. All of them know the backs are already to the wall. It's up to them. Now, these are very senior players. There's nobody else who needs to tell them anything.
Yeah.
You're sitting there, there are basically 4 India captains sitting out there in that camp. 4 India captains sitting in the camp. They don't need to be told what to do. Trent Bolt doesn't need to be told what to do. Everyone knows their job. It's just a matter of going and doing it. I think little changes in this team is not going to make a difference. I think it's more about just saying...
Finding form.
Yeah, finding form. Just go and do your thing.
But do you think Rohit needs to not come in as an impact and be on the ground where he feels a little bit more involved and then
I
boom?
totally agree with you on that. I totally agree with you on that because it sort of disconnects him, and I feel that disconnection is not good for him as a player. Because Rohit as a captain has, he's not captain here, but he needs to remain connected.
But what happens is when you're a captain and you're you've got that captaincy experience for so many years, when you're on the ground, even if you're not captain, your brain is...
Yeah, it switches on.
It's ticking and thinking like a captain. You're thinking, okay, this change, that change, which you're heavily involved in the game.
You're in the game.
Which helps you when you go out to bat.
Absolutely. But any changes you see for the team?
Let's have a look at it, but I really don't. I mean, see,
they've been trying Robin Mins, which didn't work, but...
Again, and this is not the kind of pitch where the fast bowling will help, so Vignesh will play ahead of Ashwini. Robin Mins, they've tried him, really not succeeded. Look, if those guys can't do it for you, if Rohit, Rickleton and, Tilak can't do it for you, Surya can't do it for you, there's not very much to it.
And Will Jack's
Veer also been
needs,
excellent.
Yeah, Will
and
Jack's
then
needs to fire as well.
Yeah.
So it's just like you said, they know what they need to do. It's just about finding the form which MI needs to find. Our players to watch out for tomorrow.
I'm going to go with Rohit. I think because, again, a lot of eyes will be on him. Because, he's too good a player to keep failing like this. So a lot of eyes will be on him. He himself will be very hard on how his tournament's gone so far. So I'm going to go with Rohit from Mumbai, and from Delhi, again, for the same reason, Jake Fraser-Burger if he plays.
Eyes on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to pick Rohit. I was tempted to pick Rohit because the last time I picked him, he didn't play. So this time I'm going to go with Surya Kumar Yadav. No, I feel Surya Kumar Yadav, again, bubbling away, but not incandescent form, not the 500, 550 run seasons. And you cannot afford to have him not play that lad. So I think definitely him. And for me, KL Rahul, because you have to, when you are on a good run and he's seeing the ball played very well in very difficult conditions, now he has to tell himself, I'm going to take my team home to a championship.
I just want to clarify that when I said players to watch out for, I'm not saying these are the ones who are going to do well.
No. These are your guesses.
No. My guesses as to who my eyes will be because of the pressure they're under and how they respond to that pressure.
So it's a more of the psychological, where their frame of mind and how he's looking at them right now.
Okay, it's now pressure because if you see the joy factor question, no pressure on Rohan at all because he gets all the joy factor questions.
And he answered this one as well.
I got this.
He got this one.
Have a look at the joy factor question. Joyda, all yours.
What connects the 2009 ODI, the Eden Gardens between India and Sri Lanka, to a 2012 T20 League match? Well, it's the same thing. Both cases, the man of the match on paper was Gautam Gambhir, and in both cases he decided that there's somebody who's a more worthy candidate. In the first time, it was Virat Kohli, of course, and Virat Kohli went on, he got a century in that match, and he felt that his was a more important innings and some innings that deserved to be celebrated. In the second, it was Debabrata Das, but, just an example of that. There is a third example, and that is, of course, I didn't pick it up because it was of Sachin Tendulkar. And if I had picked Sachin Tendulkar giving the man of the match to anybody else, you would have got it anyway.
I don't know about that. When it's the joy factor questions, I just googly that is bold, which I can't play. We'll have a look at the answer and see who got it besides Rohan. Joyda?
Shovik Saha, Bong Bandhu, of course. Name sounds familiar, but I haven't seen him in a while.
So he needs to come up and answer them a little quicker.
But I think there should be points for answering the joy factor question.
No, that you're leading. There's a leaderboard here.
But no one's getting to see that.
That you're leading.
I'm happy to do that.
And we have to also give the man of the match to Rohan, not only for answering the
Oh,
John
you got
factor,
one. Yeah,
but
well
he
done.
got not one. He got
No, one.
two. Even in the
2 today.
Yeah, 2 today.
Yeah, 2 out of 4 today.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got 2 out of 4 today.
Well done.
2 out of 4. I'm clapping for myself. Oh, it's never happened.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at where you are on that points table, because
Alrighty.
you must have jumped up somewhere.
No, I'm there only, 25%.
Oh wow! Look
But
at
which is
Lisa.
fine. I'm like others have fallen. So that's good.
But look at Lisa. How did she jump up to number 2?
Because her,
Now,
she's going to be there at 29. Now it depends on what, if anyone goes above her
Yeah,
or not.
Lisa is going to be safe at 29. Lisa has a very good chance of winning it, because the greatest way to play this game
Not
is
play.
get 3-4 wins and then give up.
Yeah, the greatest way is to not play this game. I'm just happy that I'm climbing the charts on the right-hand side slowly and steadily. My aim this season is to come to the left-hand side. That's what it is. So we'll see. I'm not in here tomorrow because senior man Gaurav Kapoor is back here tomorrow. And,
Are you saying senior because it was his birthday a couple of days ago?
It was, but he is my senior man. I call him senior man.
50? GK?
No, he just turned 18.
Oh, 18.
Yeah.
GK, that is not going to... That dinner order is not going to look good for you, my friend.
Getting
But
the food.
I've become pretty good at the dinner.
Yeah, he's become pretty good himself, that's true.
But GK is forever young. He's
Forever young.
18,
Peter
that's
Pan.
what
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan, GK is. But thank you, Rohan. I know that you've struggled with your throat because you were just screaming and shouting
Yes.
for what we witnessed today. And Joyda, I know you've had a long flight, but your stories have kept us entertained. So thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who watched. It was a super Saturday. We will be back tomorrow at 3 o'clock because it's going to be a super Sunday. You all are watching Voltas presents Cricbuzz live. That's all we have time for right now. Good night and goodbye.
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत जंक्शन
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲಲ್ಲಿ
Hyderabad Punjab Express, Station, Netaji Bhavan.